We're looking at the quadratic formula, just the intro today. The homework again is going to be deriving the quad from the standard form. So this is just 3.2.4, the intro to it. Okay. First thing we have to remember is, well, answer this. Fill in the blank. Solving for x is finding the what? Think of the graph of the parabola, right? We have our U shape, facing up and facing down. What is finding the x values actually finding? What are we finding when we solve for x? Where? Of what? Ooh. Well, the y, we don't even have to solve. We know that that's our c value. X-intercepts, love it. Okay. So think of it this way. We have x-intercepts. Thank you. And if you have a quadratic that has a vertex underneath the x-axis, we're going to have two x solutions, two x values for the intercept of the x-axis here. Okay. The other option is you have a quadratic that just touches the x-axis. How many solutions for that? One. Okay. And then what if you have a quadratic that is translated up? How many solutions? Zero. No. Okay, 0. So today we're getting used to the quadratic. Tomorrow we're going to look at just one little part of the quadratic, called the discriminant, that tells you how many solutions you'll have. Okay, so we're just building on this today and tomorrow. So this is really important because if you were able to find the x-intercepts, right, you then could find the line of symmetry, because I know that's right in between it. That would be our x value for the vertex as well. The line of symmetry, I know my vertex is somewhere along that. So solving for x, if you can do that really quick, then you get to a place where you can graph these even faster. Okay, that's where we're going with this. Different approach to it. First semester is basically all about factoring, all about graphing using the formulas. Now we're going to solve for x and forget about factoring for a moment. We're going to say, I know that technique. Now we're going to go to just finding the x values right after that. So going for a different piece. All right, question. What are some limitations of algebra tiles? We dealt with those the last 2 weeks or so. Yeah.
Fractions.
Fractions. What goes along with fractions?
Decimals.
Fractions or decimals. Those are problematic. You can't really represent that as easily in that spatial kind of form. What else doesn't work? Yeah.
Like a number larger than 1 for a coefficient of x.
Good, good, good. So when our a value is greater than 1, that causes some tricky, some parts that are hard. Yes? So, and that specifically is for one approach, one process called what? Yeah, completing the square. So when you have odd number of x's, it's a challenge to complete the square. Okay, so that's why when we were doing the Connect 4, if you had an odd number, we had to add it because the game was all about completing the square. And I see how I could have actually made the game boards a little different for next time. Any other limitations? All right, what if I gave you a box of tiles and I said, I want you to show me the picture of 12x squared plus 57x minus 235. What's the limitation that we see with those algebra tiles?
Yes. We don't have enough of it.
You don't have enough. Not enough. Right? So, limited number. Number of tiles. All right, I think that's a pretty good list of 4. Anyone think of another? No. Maybe it's not as cool to use algebra tiles. If you're like somewhere, you pull them out like that. You want trickier ways to do it. You don't want to have to use that. That's cool. Any other? Our imagination. Our imagination. Limited by algebra tiles. You don't have them all the time. Okay, my question, I've been really pushing for this. Who's been able to do quadratics in their head now, imagining the algebra tiles? Anybody? Good, good, good. Almost everybody. Yes. Okay, so keep playing with that. Think of a rectangle or a square with the algebra tiles and see if you can keep on finding the factors just from visualizing it. Just think how hard that would have been to do before, right? Now we have the spatial to do that. Okay, I'm really happy to hear that. All right, here's the correction. And if on the quiz you you made this error, and I docked you points, come talk to me after, and I will be giving those additional points. Because using the algebra tiles, I was confused about one aspect of it, so I want to make sure that I don't limit you on it, and I want to correct it here. So a trinomial is prime. It cannot be factored. It's prime when you cannot convert into factored form. That's actually the definition of can you factor it. If we have the expression that's a trinomial, if I can't get it into this form perfectly, then it is not factorable. It's prime. Okay. So when we were dealing with the rectangles and there were some aspects where we'd have some leftovers, there's no leftovers allowed. So if you have leftovers, so some of you had some answers like this, that's actually a prime, that's a prime trinomial there. Okay. So if you had that, I want you to come talk to me after class. That was just something I didn't elaborate very well at all for. Okay. So I'm always going to do that if I see there's something I missed. All right, here we go. Don't get intimidated by this. Yeah. QF, the quadratic formula, allows us to solve for x without factoring. That's the key idea. That's why we use this. When it's too difficult to factor, solve by factoring. Now we can find x, solve for x right off the bat. And this does come from standard form. So the standard form of our quadratic, you can solve and isolate x in order to get all the way to the quadratic formula. Okay. Standard form to quadratic, that's for you to wrestle with for homework. If you don't get all of it, that's okay, but I want you to get as far as you can, because when we check homework and we're reciting our song or our story or whatever, we're going to mark how much work you get based on how much you do on your own. Okay, so give that a real good try this evening. It is tricky. Yeah, for honors, this is derive the quadratic formula from standard form. Review completing the square algebraically. This is going to be really helpful. So let's just think about this for a second. If you had these algebra tiles, how do I know how many ones fit there? How do I know? Okay.
Because it's the two x sides multiplied together.
Right. So how many x's do we have?
4.
4. So our b value in this case, b is equal to 4, right? B is equal to 4. So how many ones do I need over here? Actually, I'm going to make this a little bit different just because of I don't want this to be confusing based on the numbers I use. So b is 6. Okay. How many are going to fit here? How do we just logically, spatially know it's going to be 9. Okay, 9. The way that you know it's 9, algebraically, remember that we were adding our b value divided by 2, and we were squaring it. That was how we were completing the square algebraically. You remember that? You being able to visually see, spatially see that 9 have to go here is the same as algebraically taking our number of b's, 6, dividing by 2, that's 3, and squaring it to get 9. So what you learn spatially, and it just is like a snap now, algebraically you're using this process. Okay. You got to add this to both sides of the equation and then work it out from there. So for tonight, when you're dealing with this, I want you to review completing the square algebraically. You can either look at my video or like Khan Academy or any video you want. Don't use online resources. So we'll review it tomorrow. We'll review it together, and don't cheat yourself. Just try to do it as far as you can, because it is all over. It's online. You can find it real easy, but I want you to try it. Okay. All right. You guys up for that? We'll see. We'll see. All right. So next, we are going to go ahead and jump into this. Creating a story, a meme, a song, or a rap. The key to this. Well, first I'll ask, who here knows if they're a visual learner? Is anybody here for sure you know you're a visual learner? Okay. So the suggestion for this activity, which I think is true, visual learners are going to have a better, more success if they're creating a story. Because if you create a story, it's like an image. You know, you walk by the backpack, which is the B. You know. There's a roof, which is like the root. Okay, so we're creating imagery to help figure this out. Don't make it complicated. Don't make it complicated, because you want to be able to recite it tomorrow morning, right? But a little hard to see. So let's just look at some of the guidelines really quick. I don't think folks at home can see that. There it is. Man, I love PCs. All right, here we go. All right, option 1, create a song or rap. Thank you. This method is especially effective if you pick a tune that's meaningful to you, so you can make it to the sound of a tune. Like one example was to use like "Row, row, row, you boat," which I don't like. I wouldn't do that one. But you can do any kind of song you want. Make sure it's meaningful to you. You can make the song as silly as you want. Keep it PG, but don't make it too complicated, or you won't be able to remember it. If you're making a story, associate with symbols, numbers, variables to help remember. Make it unique. Let's see. This is good for visual learners, and it's going to help us remember this forever. So this is what you have to do. We're going to first complete this. Whoa. Hello. You're going to complete all elements on your own piece of paper. So you're making your own version. And we're going to start by coming up with 3 to 6 words that start with the following letters. We're going to have A, B, and C, and I added down here. We're also going to figure out some words for negative, positive, and root. Okay, so let's see if we could still make this work. So let's do that together here. I don't really like this example, so let me try to make it up. Every class I've been failing, so get ready. The bad bunny has a love-hate relationship with the roof on his house. Take it up. All right. His twin bunny babies really do not like when the AC is turned to level 4. So it's completely over to 2 apples. That's it. All right. That was totally different than last period. I'm going to make a new one every time. All right. Let's think of some A. I hope this can see. It probably is. All right, so first you're going to decide what you're going to do. Again, visual learners. If you're a visual learner, you're going to think about doing the story. Oh. You're not supposed to be on. No, don't look.
Oh, dang.
Oh, man. That's okay. All right, that was my adult instructional aid. Thank you for reading paper. All right, let's see. 3 to 6 words that start with A that are meaningful to you. So I would say, because I enjoy archery, I'd put archery. What else? Something that's personal, not just like, automobile. Apples. Hey, I like apples. All right, let's make a few. Yeah, Emma. Academics. All right, yeah. Okay, let's go to words that start with B that are, yes.
Braille.
Braille.
That's
yes.
There's 2 L's there. B.
And my mom.
2 L's in Braille.
Anyone else? Another words that start with B, just a couple more? Yeah. Bacon.
Ooh. There's 2 L's in Braille.
So you could say, the bad bacon. I have a love-hate relationship with bad bacon. Someone else on this side, B. Give me a B. Okay, how about basketball?
Stop.
No. How about C? Any words that start with C? Over on this side, somebody. Yeah. Coconut.
Competitive.
Coconut. Anything else? Yeah.
CSGO.
No.
I heard cave. I heard cat.
CSGO.
Car
9.
Oh, iCar. Oh yeah, we need this. We need a side too.
iCarly. Low.
Yeah.
iCarly. Loud.
SpongeBob with the
Loud.
Cloud.
McCloud. No, it's
Like cloud, but with
McCloud.
yeah.
I don't know. All right, bring it back, bring it back. How about some words that connote negative?
Line.
Bad. Sad.
Dead.
Line.
Mean.
Line.
Not mine.
Line.
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 Mean.
Dead.
Mean.
No rough.
Angry.
Zero rough.
Pessimist.
Rough.
Rough.
How about positive? You know,
We'll say all of
as
them.
long as it's important to you and you're not disrespectful. All right, good. Happy. Other positives?
Positive.
Positives.
Sideways.
Hell.
How about up?
Hell. Hell. Switzerland. Hell.
Switzerland.
Switzerland. Swiss Army knife? Okay.
That's right. That's right. Card what? C, cardboard.
I know.
All right, bring it back, bring it back. This one's hard. I want to make sure everybody gets this one. How about for the root symbol? That's tricky.
Potato.
Root.
Potatoes.
Potatoes. I don't get it.
It's a root.
Are you up?
Too loud. I can't hear people in the back. Yeah. Gilberto, what'd you say?
Rough.
Rough.
No rough. It's
Okay.
all one word.
What else? What
A
else?
potato because it's a root. Potato. Potato.
Anyone else?
What? Above.
I kind of think of a carrot.
Carrot.
What?
If that's what you remember and that helps you, then that's cool. Do it. All right. All right. Tunnel. I heard tunnel earlier.
What's
What's
the name of
Hard
that
word.
Vans.
Vans?
Yeah, the Vans logo
Oh,
is
it
this.
is. Oh.
Square root.
Heart monitor.
That's cool.
Because you're like, it's your heart monitor. that you
Oh,
can
okay.
get.
Oh, the heart, like a he died. A pacemaker thingy.
EKG.
And he died at the end of it.
Yeah, that.
21 seconds.
Yeah, that's your cardiogram.
Should
All right, one more. Evan.
Diving board.
Diving board. Oh, that's cool.
Oh, but the heart monitor. And he died at the end.
Oh my God.
So the thing is, if you don't see it, don't use those words. If you see it and you'll never forget that, then use that word. Okay. So make sure that you're picking words that you can use. We have about, let's see, we have about 18 minutes. So we're going to work on this. Try to first get your letters and your symbols, and then go to make a story. It doesn't have to be long. So remember how long I did for this? It's nothing. You can do it. It's like a sentence or two. All right, that's good. I'm going to just... All right, 123rd gets a free Oreo package of Oreos, right? 123rd subscriber. All right? That's too many. That's going to be like after I've been here 5 years. I'll have an old like Oreo cookies that's like 5 years old. Like, they never go stale like Twinkies. All right, that's it.